Oh, this is so dumb. I told myself I wasn't gonna get emotional. Hey everyone, it's Dare. I know it's been incredibly long since I've seen you guys last, but I wanted to take some time away from YouTube to really figure out what I wanted to show you guys and what I wanted to talk to you guys about. This has been a long overdue video that has been requested hundreds of thousands of times, and I finally feel like I'm ready to talk a little bit about it. Today I'm going to be sharing a little bit of my personal Disney history. Now, a lot of things I'm not going to be able to share because, warning, I am not breaking character integrity just for some likes and some views. But ever since I started working with the company, I had a passion for helping people. And I feel like more and more these days, young girls that have the same dream that I did turn to YouTube and social media to find answers about Disney. And they're not really wildly available to people. So I thought I would make this video to share my personal history about Disney and maybe be able to shed some light on some other future Disney topics like auditioning, and what it's like to really work there, and those sort of things. Alrighty, let's start with this Disney history, shall we? I'm excited. This is so crazy that I'm here and it's the holiday, so I hope you guys enjoy. I want to start way back, like extremely far back to my Disney history and where it all kind of started. Crazy enough, I was even actually born to a soundtrack from a Disney movie called The Lion King. And my mom, I guess she knew that I was going to be different and like love Disney because she played it while I was being born, which is kind of weird, but like, hey, good for you, Mom. Anyways, back to like the real things that matter in this story. Now, fast forward to when I was 10. I competed in pageants that were for scholarships and about volunteer opportunities, and I actually won my way down to Florida, and as part of our national trip, my mom took it upon herself to take us out of school for a whole week, party hard, and go to Disney World, which is so exciting for us as kids. Me and my brother absolutely loved the parks and absolutely loved seeing all the shows and hearing all the like the songs that they have and going on all the rides and meeting all the characters. We absolutely adore Disney. I remember one day at a Mickey's Very Merry Christmas party looking up at the castle show stage that they had going on, and I remember telling my mom and my brother out loud that I was gonna work for Disney someday, and lo and behold, eventually I did. My senior year of high school, my mom had moved down to Florida. I'm originally from Minnesota, so she moved all the way down to Florida. And her and my stepdad applied to work at the Walt Disney Company. My mom had gotten hired to work at Hollywood Studios at the attraction Fantasmic, and she was super excited about that. I, at the time, really wanted to focus on finishing my high school senior year and then doing college, maybe just like I don't know, I was just like really focused at the time and I didn't really have time to move down. But what got like really crazy is that my mom would write me, and obviously we kept in touch, and she was talking about how wonderful the characters are, and we jokingly thought that like maybe I could be friends with an ugly stepsister and that sort of thing, just because I didn't really fit the stereotypical friends with a character mold. Typically they like to look for girls with big eyes, a small petite nose, and a big smile. So I didn't really like fit the mold, as I would say. So it was kind of like a running joke between us, but lo and behold, I came down, I think this was like the final year, like it was like my 7th time coming down to Disney, and my mom showed me where she worked and I got to meet all her friends and everything, and I had brought my boyfriend at the time with me, and I was like, you know what, while we're down here, I want to try an audition. So I showed up at the audition with my boyfriend standing literally next to me, and I didn't really know what to expect. They lined us all up in rows, they looked at us while they played some Disney music to make it comfortable, and I remember sitting there just smiling away, being super cute, and just having a good time. And unfortunately, I got cut, but at least at that point I had like one Disney audition under my belt. And I was really disappointed because I was hoping this was like gonna be a magical turning point for me, and like fireworks and magic was gonna happen and I was gonna get the job and whatever. But I didn't really know a lot about the auditions at the time, so I was kind of naive. Then I enjoyed my vacation, went back home, and decided this is what I wanted to do. I knew that I could do this, and I just felt something inside me was just like, this is what you need to do. You need to move down to Florida. Like, this is what you need to do. So I was competing for Miss Minnesota at the time, and I actually won the title of Miss Minnesota. And I had my pageant coach and I sat down and rewrote and re-scripted everything so that I could just literally talk about Disney, and that was my dream job. I was literally like, I don't know, like 17 at the time. Like, I was pretty young, but I just had a passion for it, I guess. So I went on to nationals. I was crowned Miss Teen Minnesota, and I went on to nationals to compete for the overall Miss Teen title. And I did extremely well. I got first runner-up, which means second place in normal people lingo. And I literally was on stage talking to hundreds of thousands of people, basically telling them that this is what I'm gonna do, and this is what I am passionate about, and I'm going to make this happen. And people, I guess, when you are that young, people don't really believe you, and they don't really, they kind of go, that's nice, and they move along. And no one had really given me advice at that point about how to go about doing it, but I just knew I really wanted to, and I had a passion for it. I went back home to Minnesota, and my reign was over, which in pageant terms, having a reign is where you are the queen and you pass it along, your title, to someone else. So then, as I'd passed on my title to someone else, I then decided to pack up all my things and move to Florida with my mom and my stepdad and my boyfriend at the time, and just try for my dreams, because why not? You only live once, so I thought I would give it a shot. I lived with my boyfriend in our own house while my parents had lived in their own place, so we were separated at the time. And my boyfriend at the time, what was it he told me? It was like, we wanted to be servers at Disney World, because why not? Like, yay. I had 3 years of serving experience, like in the restaurant industry, so we thought, why don't we put our name on the server list? His deal with me was that I could go to Disney auditions, but if I put my name on the server wait list and I got hired or interviewed and hired at Disney for a server, I would have to take that job. Whereas if I go to these Disney auditions and they accept me, I could take the job as a Disney entertainer. So my first, what I would like to call serious audition, is where Disney was looking for friends of some very ethnic princesses, for lack of a better term. So I didn't really feel like I had fit the mold of what they were looking for, but I just thought I would go, so then that way when I would come back and audition another time, I could figure out what exactly they're looking for, and like how to dress, and like what to really do. So I went to this audition, and I remember they had just lined us up, looked at us, and sent us on our way. Now, all of these auditions that I was going to were all at the Orlando location. So I've heard that like auditions obviously around the United States are very different. Auditions for other parks are very different. And obviously Orlando, from what I've heard from other people that have gone and from my own personal experience, they always do their auditions very different as well. I remember at this audition, they had lined us up, looked at us, and I was sent on my way. Now, at every single Orlando audition I've been to, there's always been at least 600 girls. Like, there was never any less than that. And then I would say maybe the biggest audition I was at was like 2,000. Like, there was a lot of girls there. So it was never like there was only 30 of us, if that makes sense. So I remember leaving that audition kind of disappointed, but I like knew that this wasn't the right audition for me. Now, my stepdad is really outgoing and is super hilarious, and he decided that he wanted to come with an audition with me this next time. Just like, kind of as a joke, I guess, just to like come with and like join in the excitement. So he came with me to my third audition, which was crazy because this was the first time they ever let us dance first. And that was so exciting for me because I studied 5 years at an academy in tap, jazz, lyrical, ballet, and hip hop. So any dance they could throw at me, I'm sure I could figure it out and like jazz hands my way through. So I was super excited to dance, but my stepdad does not dance. So he was just goofing around and being very playful at the audition, and I was just enjoying him being there with me and us just like having fun. And I think that really helped me at the audition because I was like carefree and just laughing with him and having a good time. And I think it just relieved the pressure from me, so it made me look even better, I guess, maybe? I don't know. Like what I was wearing, plus my stepdad being there goofing around and having a good time. And just dancing first, I think, was just the real ticket for me. I don't know, I could be wrong, but my thoughts. So I made it through the first round. The second round was animation, which they had us be a tree and wash a dog, which is really awesome. If you want to know more about this part, I can make another video on it. Then the third round was actually being fitted, which was super magical, and it's not really my place to share what goes on beyond that, but I got to read and act a little bit for them, and it was super magical. I loved it. If you guys want to know more about how the audition process goes, leave in the comments below and I can elaborate a little bit more in my next video. So then I went back home that night and my parents had bought a cake and we all were sitting around super excited. And I remember looking at that cake and being so happy but so content, because I remember like feeling that I wasn't good enough. And that has like always, I'm like getting emotional. It's just something I've always like dealt with, that like I don't really believe in myself, and it's like self-doubt, and a lot of it comes from, oh, this is so dumb. I told myself I wasn't gonna get emotional, but it comes from like how I was raised for a few years of my life, and yeah, I remember being like happy that I made it through the audition, but like content that like if I didn't get it, I had done everything that I could, and that somebody else was going to get it who was really deserving, and that I was going to be okay. So a little backstory on me is that like I've been known for always getting first runner-up in pageants, so not exactly being the queen, but always being the girl standing next to her, which I was always okay with, you know, like I always like had a good attitude, and I never let it stop me. So just being content in that moment, I think, was also another green light for me, because, okay, pull it together. Because a month later, I got offered full-time, which is so exciting. Like, I can't even tell you how excited I was, but it was really sad, and it sucked because literally in my moment of triumph, my boyfriend, obviously ex right now, but my boyfriend at the time was like mad at me that they were offering me full-time and like told me not to take it, but I like got through the phone call and I took full-time and I was so excited. So I started in July. It was like, no, June. I started in June. And I started my training and I became best friends with Chip and Dale, which was so exciting. And my parents came and met me, and I was so happy that they were supporting me. It was around the holidays that what was it? It was just like, things weren't working out, and I finally left the boyfriend because he was trying to take away my dream and like make me work all the time and like not let me like just enjoy these moments. And it sucks because it took away from like so much of my happiness. Like I was so happy about working at Disney and like getting the job, but I didn't really get to like enjoy the moment, you know? So I kind of regret that, but life is full of learning things, and I ditched him and moved in with my parents, so yay, parents are nice. And I was lucky enough that I even got to learn Day Parade, which was like beyond me, and it was so exciting because it's an opportunity that not very many people get. So I was like pretty, I don't want to say I was hush-hush about it, because I remember posting on social media, which was like bad, I shouldn't have done. I did it in the character appropriate way, but I should be really careful about how I, you know, came off to other people. And I think that's what like rubbed people the wrong way, is that I was so like, ah! But again, I didn't get to like celebrate at home. I was dealing with somebody who didn't let me like celebrate my successes, which sucked. So I think that's why I was so outwardly like, I'm so excited to be here, because I was genuinely happy to be there. Luckily for me, that I had the opportunity to learn Phantasmic, which was like the most exciting part. I can't, it all was exciting, I can't read it all, but Phantasmic was so magical, and I met so many wonderful people there, and I really felt like it was a home there for me. And eventually I got casted there, which means I got to like live there essentially, sort of, and I just had the most magical time. Like it was so great, and I can't thank anyone enough for this awesome opportunity. It was wonderful. I don't want to like run around and be boastful, because at that point I had learned that like there are some really excited people to be at Disney, and then there are some not so excited people to be at Disney, which, you know, happens. So I just kind of took my success with a grain of salt, kept it to myself, and then when everybody knew, everybody knew. But one thing that people don't really tell you about, which is a big reason as to why I left, but the hours there aren't very long, and I was kind of stagnant. But I was so grateful for everything I was given, but at the same time I was at a place with little to no, like not a lot of hours, and I was at the same place like every single day. I just knew it was like my time to go. And I felt myself starting to get a little like ready for more and ready to do things for myself, I guess, for lack of better terms. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you guys had a magical time, and I hope you all have a magical day. Leave in the comments below what videos you guys want to see next, and I hope you have yourself a magical day, even though I already said it. It's great to see you guys again. I miss you so much. Bye.